Hi there people, how's it going? This is Cross the Rubicon channel. Second video. I made one yesterday. I've made them in weeks. I'm now making two in 2 days. But it's getting quite exciting in New Zealand. Getting quite exciting across the world. Ireland, same size as New Zealand, 5.2 million people. Both guinea pig countries, if you like, for the globalists, for the WEF, WHO. In New Zealand, like I said yesterday, these Maori activists, Maori separatists, who are in government and at the very top of the pyramid in iwi, which is our tribes in New Zealand, are a bit upset because we've got a new government, a government that is not going to capitulate or acquiesce to their every demand. We've got a national-led government, a national-led coalition with ACT, and New Zealand First. And by far the strongest of the three is the minority leader, which is Winston Peters, who's 78 years old, but by far the most experienced, the best speaker, the wittiest, and most entertaining, to be fair. And he gave, well, a bit of a speech yesterday, and he really piled it into these radical, extremist Maori separatists that are in Parliament, who just before, 3 of them did their own hakas in Parliament. Rawiri Waititi wearing something on his head reminiscent of some sort of wig, and carrying a weapon, patu, it's still a weapon, and wearing a pair of trainers, broke out into the haka. Totally disrespecting Parliament in New Zealand. Shane Jones, who is of New Zealand First, who is number 2 to Winston Peters, he was in an interview, I think it was the day before yesterday, where the interviewer of the bias media, it's honestly, the media in New Zealand is so bad. 100% of the media is pro everything radical extremist Maori. They promote everything radical extremist Maori in New Zealand. And Shane Jones, who's a Maori, well, they're all part Maori, like I've said, but he doesn't buy in. He doesn't buy in. He's much like Winston Peters. He buys into, you know, democracy. But Debbie Packer, who's half Irish, well, mostly Irish, and with a little diddy bit Maori, but she's got the old, you know, to make herself more authentic, and the old, you know, gravy paste all over her face to make herself look more brown. She actually said during that interview that New Zealand First, ACT, and the national-led coalition are committing genocide against Maori in New Zealand. She literally said they are committing genocide, with a big smile on her face. And the media in New Zealand lap it up. They lap it up. It's crazy. It's turning into a crazy clown fest of stupidity and ignorance. Winston Peters ran and got into government by saying he's going to launch investigations into the old, can't say too much because this is going on YouTube, and the injuries that have been caused and deaths. Over the last few days, a man, English, like myself, I'm Welsh, by the way, but from the UK, who worked for the government as an IT man, and he was the only one who was doing the stats apparently. And he's come to the conclusion, after studying the statistics, the data if you like, of deaths that have occurred since the old, and he's come to the conclusion that something was seriously wrong. Now this was broken, this story, by Counterspin in New Zealand, which are very good, Counterspin. They're much like Alex Jones kind of thing, New Zealand version of Alex Jones. So check them out, Counterspin. Was broken by them and Liz Gunn. Now I'm not a big fan of Liz Gunn, but on this, you know, credit where credit's due. Liz Gunn has done a great job. She interviewed this bloke. What's his name? Barry Young. He's from the northeast of England. She interviewed this bloke, and he's broke the story that many thousands of people have died in New Zealand since they had the old, and this has gone viral all around the world. This Barry Young got raided straight away by the police, armed police. Took him away from his home, put him in jail for a day or so, Premiership in Wellington. And now all this data, I say data, is to be suppressed. Now, okay, apparently Winston Peters has been hard to get to reach by Liz Gunn and Barry Young, many other people, because he said he was going to launch an investigation. I know they've only been in government for a week or so. What I'm saying is, I hope Winston Peters doesn't do what Winston Peters has become notorious for doing. I hope he comes to the side of Barry Young and Liz Gunn and does what he actually said he was going to do. And like I said, Winston Peters is by far the biggest player in the government because of his personality, because of his experience, his wit, his intelligence. He's above, and he really is, well above the Prime Minister in personality stakes. And I don't think the Prime Minister of New Zealand can control Winston Peters, to be fair. And I just hope that he comes to the aid of Barry Young and Liz Gunn. It's windy here and I hope you can hear me. But it's certainly getting interesting here in New Zealand. Now, I'm going to take you to Ireland. We all know, most of us know, about the stabbing that happened in Dublin a week or so ago by an Algerian man of a few people in the streets of Dublin. And how it's been covered up by the media, again, the same kind of media in Ireland, much like New Zealand, where they won't talk about certain topics. And the politicians and the police and the media in Ireland are calling everybody who questions the mass immigration into Ireland far right. They're calling everybody far right. It's exactly the same kind of situation here. Now, Conor McGregor, the UFC cage fighter, has used his personality, his reach, to criticise the Irish Prime Minister Leo Varadkar, and he piled it into him, and fair play to him. I've never been a great lover of Conor McGregor, I'll be honest with you, because, you know, he's just not my kind of bloke. But this time, I'm honestly 1,000,000% behind him. And I think it's so refreshing. Conor McGregor, I'm guessing, I don't know what he's worth, but he's worth more than a few million. I'm guessing 100 million maybe. I mean, he was getting that a fight. But someone correct me on that. But anyway, he's worth a lot of money. And he's very influential. He's not as articulate as your quintessential New Zealand or Irish politician. But this man's normal. He's normal, and he loves his country, and he wants to save his country from these corrupt government officials, bureaucrats, politicians who have come to power because they're corrupt, because of it, and they think in a certain way. Conor McGregor is not one of those people. This man, hey, very, very talented fighter, a very good speaker, although, you know, it's a question of choice whether you like that kind of thing. But he's intelligent. And now, Conor McGregor, so I believe, is running, or possibly, quite possibly, going to run for the Prime Minister of Ireland. So he's getting into politics to be the Prime Minister of Ireland. And you know what? For me, I really, really wish him 100% the very best. Because we need change in the whole world. We really do need change. Because it seems to me, and many of us, the hair's all over the shop here, that nearly every politician in the Western world has been corrupted. And I believe they're corrupted by the WEF, the WHO, and these super psychopathic predator class. You know who they are, without mentioning any names. We know who they are. Multi-billionaires who have bought and paid for politicians in the last, well, decade, maybe 2 decades, but most certainly in the last 3-4 years. Things need to change, people. And Conor McGregor in Ireland, Geert Wilders, just maybe, in the Netherlands, 1 or 2 others could change it. I'm not sure the change is going to happen here in New Zealand. That's going to, well, cause a stir in the world. But in Ireland it just could, because it's very close to the UK, to Britain, very close to France and Europe, mainland Europe. But these people, these corrupt, woke politicians that have been selected, not elected, have to be removed from power. Not only them, but these people, anybody who goes to Davos every year, who goes to the Bilderberg group meetings every year, anybody that goes to those meetings should not be anywhere near the corridors of power in any nation, anywhere in the world. That's what I believe. Back to New Zealand. These Maori separatists, radical extremists, they are more or less, well, not more or less, they are calling for revolution. Alongside 100% of the New Zealand media want to bring down the duly elected national-led coalition of New Zealand. That's what's happening right now in New Zealand. 100% of the media want to bring the duly elected, democratically elected government down because they've stopped funding them. They're over $100 million a year in funding that Jacinda gave them as a bribe. Now it's been stopped, so now they want to bring them down. And they support everything these radical extremists, Rawiri Waititi, Debbie Packer, Willie Jackson, JT, and many others are trying to divide this country. And the media support them. They want this minority to be in power, even though it's going to push this country into civil war. But that's how screwed up New Zealand is. It really is one screwed up country at the minute. But now people are getting braver. Like myself, I've been saying it for years, as you know, and I've got myself in a whole lot of trouble. My life was turned upside down, but that's another story. But now more and more people are brave enough, because of the change of government, they're brave enough to say the things I've been saying for the last 5 years or so. Hopefully I'll get my day of justice at some stage with the Maori Party, with the far leftists, and with Sinlay, the company that very, very publicly fired me from my job because of the pressure that the Maori Party put on them. And hopefully one day I'll get my day in court, and it's going to cost them dear, as it should. Okay, I think I've said what I need to say. This is Cross Rubicon. Please like, leave a comment, subscribe to my channel, share this video everywhere. If you want to buy me a coffee, I'll leave the details below. Okay, see you later. Bye.